fix it whenever you want. I mean, it's fine if you fix it all. Don't mess up the cameras. Ooh, I saw your camera go black. I mean, Jesus. This is the intro right here. We got Steve fucking up cameras. We got Carmine coughing like a monster. Welcome to the Theater Room, episode 59, guys.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Theater Room, episode 59. And as you can see, we are joined by everybody today from GGEN. So it's quite the special day. We got an awesome episode. We have an incredible Q&A at the end with our boy Zuplex. So I'm going to start it out, just go around the horn in here. Welcome to our man who went to New York City and grinded it out for us. Zuplex City, how we feeling today, brother?
What's going on? I'm a little run down from the weekend, but I'm here. I'm ready to rock. Let's do this.
I love that. You know, we're also going around here. ScytheX, how you feeling today, bro? What's going on?
Good, buddy. I like the early start. I'm ready to go. Let's do this.
I love it. Sun shining in. I feel like it's a bright and beautiful day.
Hell yeah.
And the sun's even shining in on the background there, sporting the beautiful look with the bald head and the beard. Our man One Shot. How we doing over there, Pumpkin?
I'm all right. How are you?
Good. Oh, I'm all right. I don't know.
I mean, there's
man.
no energy.
No
No
energy's
energy.
got to come up a notch. So I'm going to let our man, our normal El Capitan of the ship of the theater room, hype us up a little bit. Spartacris, how we feeling, bro?
Oh, I'm amped up. What's up, boys? There's a lot of stuff. Really, Werewolf by Night is the thing I'm most excited to talk about. That's the big thing from this week. I was excited. But a bunch of reviews. We got a bunch of topics. Let's do it, man. New York Comic Con. That's the big dog right here. So I'm ready. Let's go.
Let's get locked and loaded. We have a few topics here to get through, man. An awesome episode, awesome content coming your way. So get your popcorn ready, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to start with you, Spartacris, here. We're going to go She-Hulk. Listen, guys, I like to look in on everything you guys talk about. I love to see, and it seemed like it was a roller coaster. Zuplex, I'm going to go back to a few theater rooms ago when you said, right off the rip, She-Hulk was reeling you in, and then you felt it plateaued a little bit. Actually, Scythe said the same thing. Felt like it plateaued a little bit, and now you guys are saying it's reeling you back in. So, Spartacus, how you feeling about the most recent episodes of She-Hulk?
I'm going to throw out the first hot take of the day. While it was a good episode, the entire world is blinded by the fact that Matt Murdock himself returned. While I love that part, it didn't make the episode any better. It's still the same show we've gotten for the last, I don't know, however, 7 or 8 episodes of the season. I enjoyed it just like I enjoyed the rest. It was funny. It came and went. You know, who knows how serious it's going to be by the end. And thankfully, they didn't do my boy Matt Murdock dirty. Daredevil still looked badass and awesome.
Okay, interesting take. Zuplex, how you feeling about it, bro?
This episode I loved, actually, including the introduction of Matt Murdock and the Daredevil and everything like that. I think we got it's definitely a different version from the Netflix series of Daredevil that we got. Doesn't mean it's a bad version of it. I think it's a more acrobatic version, which was something that they didn't delve into in the Netflix show, really. He was more like a boxer type.
He's not acrobatic in the net. I mean, I don't mean to interrupt, but what kind of nonsense are you talking right now?
No, not as much. Not as much, though.
Okay. I mean, I guess.
He wasn't doing the stuff he did in She-Hulk.
Well, I mean, he's got a few more years under his belt now. You know what I mean?
I'm just saying he wasn't as acrobatic.
All right. I took your spotlight. I'm sorry.
One would have to wonder.
Like, I don't understand what's wrong with my comment there.
Well, I mean, listen. One would have to wonder: is this a knock on his character arc?
I think with the Netflix shows, what they're doing is the Netflix shows are going to wind up being a different universe. And This is just this universe's Matt Murdock. It seems like that's because tonally he was different. I don't think it's going to be the same universe. This is going to be the MCU's version of Daredevil, but I liked it. You know what I mean?
Like, we all enjoyed it, I think.
He was awesome. He was exactly who you wanted him to be and everything like that. Outside of the Daredevil stuff, I really enjoyed the ending. It went back to episode 1 where Bruce was telling Jennifer, like, you don't know what it feels like for them to see you as a monster. And now she knows what it feels like for them to see her as a monster.
That was the best part of the episode, I thought.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Me too.
Oh, okay, one shot. How you feeling about it, bro?
I enjoyed it. I mean, the CGI is a little wonky,
Yeah, well,
but I do enjoy it. I mean, I wasn't expecting a She-Hulk Daredevil fuckfest.
hey, but now, real quick though, we got to see Daredevil himself do this walk of shame. Did that upset
was
anybody,
amazing.
or did that make anyone happy?
That was amazing.
Yeah, I
It was
laughed at
amazing.
it.
He legit was walking down the street with no boots on, full Daredevil costume besides the boots, after a night out on the town with the She-Hulk. So I didn't mind that, but I have a few friends who really did not like that scene.
I thought it was funny. It was a funny inclusion. It's a funny show. It's supposed to be about comedy.
It goes back to the woke. People either are angry when wokeness appears, and people are just okay with it. So
Yeah.
you know, that's the bottom line. I thought it was funny. I thought it made sense. You know, I didn't think it added to the show much, but that doesn't mean it was bad.
I can tell you, I immediately, and Scythe, we're gonna close this topic out with you, bro. You gave a face that you gave a look that, like, it reminded me of my wife giving a disgusted look when I do something ridiculous. So you got to walk me through this look, bro. What was this look for?
I liked it. Like Chris, it wasn't crazy.
Right.
I'll say this about Daredevil. I liked him as, Matt Murdock doing the lawyer. I liked him and Jen going back and forth in the courtroom.
Yes, that was probably the best part, or the best interaction between the two of them.
Yeah. My favorite line is from Daredevil to Jen saying, when you can't help people with the law, you help people with She-Hulk. And I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember exactly, but it was something to the effect of like, when the law fails,
Yeah.
She-Hulk is your answer type of thing. So what I didn't like about Daredevil is, and I feel like a lot of shows do this on all networks, whenever there's like a crossover, and I mentioned this briefly, self-plug, Multiversal podcast. Well, I mentioned this briefly.
Shamelessly.
Go for it. You're allowed.
Like, if you watch, like, let's say the Arrowverse, right? You're watching Green Arrow. Green Arrow is very dark. It's very, all about murder. It's very grounded. He's just he's like a Batman type of character in the Arrowverse, right? Very brooding, dark. When he crosses over into the Flash is a lighthearted show. And he takes on the personality of that show, and it kind of loses him as a character, if that makes sense. And I got that 100% in this, where it's like, this wasn't Daredevil that we know. This was She-Hulk's version of the Daredevil. And I don't think it's going to be the same Daredevil we get in the show later on, because it's going to be different writers, different personality, different feeling to the show. So I feel like the lightheartedness, weird, I'm on a date with She-Hulk, weird Daredevil walk of shame. That was specifically for the show, and I don't think that's who we're going to get later on. At the same time, I wasn't fond of the suit. I like the old red suit better. The yellow didn't do nothing for me.
I love the suit.
It didn't do nothing for me.
I like it.
Yeah,
But you gotta remember something. Feige did say that we were going to be getting a very different Daredevil, even in the
I don't think we are, though, because if you think about it, in the episode, as soon as Daredevil appears on scene, what are you hearing? You're hearing the Netflix tone.
It's the same dude.
So why would Disney put the Netflix song in your ear if it's not the same character?
Scythe, I'm gonna actually start with you on this next topic, because you were the first one that really hit us with the Werewolf by Night review when you wrote to us and told us about it. So dive in a little bit on Werewolf by Night. How'd you enjoy it? Give us some feedback.
I loved how they created this movie, and for some reason, did anyone else think it was going to be longer than an hour? I did not know it was going to be just an hour.
I think I knew that.
I figured.
Yeah, I think they said it was going to be like an hour, roughly an hour long special. They hadn't.
I thought we were getting like an hour and a half movie. I wasn't expecting it to just be an hour episode.
I would have taken an hour and a half.
One shot thing. Yeah,
that's for sure.
But the way they did it with the black and white, and only the Bloodstone having color, I thought was amazing. Every time you do like what did they do this in? They did it.
WandaVision.
Was it like Sin City, WandaVision? Like
Schindler's
it's
List.
all black and white, and just the red stands out. Like I love that stuff. So visually, I thought it was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
It really captures the old school like monster movie. Like it was weird. The monsters were big. It was just I don't know. I can't get enough of what they did. I hope we get other versions of this of some other monster.
I think every year
this was
they're
fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope so because it was the way they did it was brilliant. But I at times I will say this. At times I felt like I was almost a little lost in what was happening. Like I knew they were hunting the monster, but I wasn't like I didn't know who. They didn't explain good for me who everyone was and why. Like okay, they're all hunters, but who are they? Like I don't know who they are. Why do they all want the bloodstone? I didn't really get that from it, and being not too familiar with this storyline, I wish it was explained a little more. That's why an hour long felt kind of short to me.
Okay, now Zuplex, I'm gonna go to you here, bro, because like I did with Scythe before, you gave a very complex look. You gave you even said it too. You kind of played with the beard and said, okay. So like, do you disagree with what Scythe said about explaining it? Did you understand it all right off the bat when you watched it?
Yeah, I understood. I mean, like they didn't have to explain much because the hunters really didn't matter. They were like cannon fodder, you know. They were there to die. Basically.
In ScytheX's defense, Zuplex could tell you what issue of what year of what page these guys came out. So,
I thought they did a hell of a job. I think an hour, like they could have made it longer, but I think it was perfect with the time frame that they did. Tell a quick one-off story, have it be entertaining, have it be fun. You know what I'm saying? Have it be stylistically something different that we've seen from Marvel. Introduce 3 main characters to the Marvel Cinematic Universe all in the same shot, you know what I mean, which was amazing to me. And also have it like loosely tie into the rest of the MCU while not being like heavily handed with it. Having the Bloodstone, like Fred said, the stylistic choice of having the Bloodstone red, we've seen that used a few times.
Mm-hmm.
Having it all turn to color from the Bloodstone at the end was really a stylistic choice that they used in WandaVision and really worked. Overall, like aesthetically, the special was amazing. I loved I can't remember the actor's name, but the guy that played Jack.
I don't remember his name. I can look it up.
And then at the end, when he turns into the werewolf, we got to see some relatively pretty violent stuff from a Marvel property. He's ripping out throats. He's going amazing. Straight ham on everybody, which was amazing to see. And then we introduced the motherfucking man thing, bro.
Finally, someone said it. I was waiting for that.
Like the man thing is one of those things that you never thought we were going to see in the MCU, and we got it, and it was done to a T.
Perfect.
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
And side note, Man Thing wasn't even fully CGI. That was a dude in a costume, and they just enhanced him a little bit with CGI. Fucking amazing.
Sometimes all it takes is a dude in a costume, and things just come.
Done well enough. Yeah,
that's true. Ask my wife. Hello.
Got him. So Spartacris, listen, man, bringing Werewolf by Night here to an end, bro. I mean, what was your outlook on it? Do you want to see more things like this? And then give me an overall. Excuse me. Hey, dude, people are trying to run an operation here. You know what I mean? 3-year-old can't interrupt like this. You know what I'm saying? But give us an overall review of it after.
Easy. So overall, I'm going to throw a number out there right now. I gave it a 9 out of 10. I would give it a 9 out of 10. I loved it from beginning to end. I'm a big horror movie fan, especially the classic horror movies. I love that Marvel dabbled in this kind of thing and that they made it feel different than anything we've gotten before. I agree with you, Zuplex, with the violence and the gore that we kind of saw. Listen, it's Marvel, right? So they can't go full-blown gore like I would want, but they did show a lot more than we've seen ever. So I absolutely loved it. Man Thing showing up, fantastic. The werewolf looked awesome. One thing my only real complaint, and this is just a nitpick, is that I agree with you, Scythe. It was a little too short. I would have liked maybe like maybe a two-parter, maybe if they had to. And I also felt like the transformation of the werewolf. It was a cool visual of seeing the shadow transform while the I forget her name, but the character, the girl that was in the cage with him was screaming. But I wanted kind of like an homage to like a Werewolf in Paris kind of thing, where you see the transformation with practical effects, just kind of quick shots of the nails growing, of the hair growing, things like that. But I mean, you know, beggars can't be choosers.
I think that was more of an homage to the 40s, like Wolfman.
That's what it seemed like. You know,
that's
so hopefully
that's how they did it back then. I don't think it was where, you know, I think they did make it a homage, but to an earlier project. You know?
I do hope that if we do get more than one, yes, I absolutely want more. Every year I want a Halloween theme thing, but I hope each year kind of caters to a different style of horror. So like to your point, this was probably like more of like the 40s kind of horror movies. Maybe next year is more of like a slasher. You know, maybe a following year is more supernatural thing. I would love that kind of stuff.
I'm going to stick with you for the Rings of Power. One of my favorite shows right now. Spartacris, I'm going to start with you. Give me a little, first off, this last episode. Talk us through this last episode, and then give me a brief overview of how you think the series has gone.
So for this last episode, I mean, it was kind of understood that based off of the episode 2 weeks ago with the big battle that we saw, this one was going to be a little slower. My favorite pairings in the show were kind of the focus. So I like, I can't even think of the characters' names now. The dwarf and the elf kind of thing, their little pairing going. I liked the stranger and his like little mystery. And then I also like Galadriel and her little group losing the battle. So I really had no problems with this last episode. I expect it to be slower. Overall, I will say that the Ring of Power is just not, it's just not doing it for me. Like, I want to like it. I think the visuals are excellent. I think the action scenes, while I know Zuplex doesn't agree, I think the action scenes are very well done. But there's a slowness to just the pacing of the whole show. And it's hard for me to sit through an entire episode without like fighting myself to reach for my phone.
We had this great battle scene last week, right? Amazing, whatever. Even though the choreography is like out of early 2000s action movies, you know, like I could still enjoy it for what it was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it seemed like it.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it.
Like this week, we just took a nosedive as far as pacing was concerned. We just went, let's make this the slowest episode ever, and just bore our fans to death, because that's what they did.
Zuplex is just a hater, big time hater.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, man, I can't get into it. Like,
and I'm also okay.
I mean, bro, that was
like you just said yourself, though, Chris. Is that like you're fighting yourself from reaching for your phone because there's nothing engaging about it.
I did say that.
Wow. Okay, Scythe. I need one here, bro. Come on.
I'll give you one. I love the episode, actually. I thought visually, her walking around in the town all red and ashy, and I thought that looked amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to find survivors, the townspeople trying to help each other out.
Visually, the show was excellent.
Numenor trying to like get people out and bring them to like a safe camp before they depart back to the island. I will say the Harrowfoots always, that's the one part of the show where I'm just like, ugh. But to their credit, this time it seemed like they finally like got like almost like a purpose, where before they were just like doing their own thing, not giving a shit. The stranger's here, it's not here. They were just very boring to follow. The dwarf and the elf, they're amazing. Yeah. Them two as a pair is amazing. I can't get enough of them. The fact that we saw the crystal heal the leaf. I don't know if was this past episode or the episode before that. Yeah, seeing the crystal heal the leaf and give hope to like the elven race, and having that be the thing that really pushes him to go against his father, the king, I thought was awesome. It was just great, like story building with these characters. So it being a slow episode, I don't really see that because I felt like we had the big battle. We're seeing the aftermath. You always have to see the aftermath of a battle. Otherwise, what's the point? And now we get to see how they close the show out. What's coming? What was that whole thing about? What was the battle? The eruption of the island about? Hopefully, we all get to see it in this, finale or whatever. But overall, I thought the episode was great. The pacing, everything was fine to me. I didn't see it being like a previous episode.
Right.
And interesting enough for me, as far as we're probably going Game of Thrones next. I'm gonna say like we're going like this, like where Game of Thrones was up here and Ring of Power started low. Now we're flip flopping for me, man. We're flip flopping. So.
So Zuplex, start us out with a little House of Dragon, bro. How do you feel about it? Get us up to date here and give me an overall rating on how you feel about this show.
So we had another time jump, which was starting to get really like, I like, it's tough because at the beginning of the episode, I see the time jump. I'm like, oh, again. But then like midway through the episode, I was like, all right, this makes sense. Like they had to do this time jump to get us to the point in the story where we're at now. This episode, in typical Game of Thrones fashion, is the perfect setup episode for the finale. Because next week's, if for those of you guys who don't watch Game of Thrones, we talked about it this last week. The finale isn't the last episode. The finale is always the second to last episode, and then the last episode is like the cleanup and setup for the next season. So knowing that we get the finale next week,
Aftermath.
I was thinking the same thing, Fred.
Setup for next season.
The aftermath.
But knowing that this is what that's setting up, it was a fantastic episode. Absolutely riveting from start to finish. Once you see all of them around the table with the king, and the king's trying to just keep them all together and solve all the problems at the last legs of his life. Mm-hmm. And all the infighting and you see that like Rhaenyra and the queen kind of make up a little bit, and they kind of start seeing eye to eye, like the king's dying, like we should really bury this hatchet. And the kids are like, fuck that hatchet.
Yeah.
Unbury that shit. We're going to war. It's our birthright, this, that, and the other thing. And now you can see where the kids are starting to kind of rule everything.
Yep.
Okay. Scythe, how do you feel about it, brother?
Yeah, the time jumps are annoying, as I've been saying every week, pretty much. Overall, I thought, and I always joke like the king should have died 7 episodes ago, but he's literally a walking corpse in this episode. Like he has the fact that he lasted the whole episode is crazy.
Not even walking. He's just a moving corpse.
This was the most powerful I felt the king was the whole series, though. Like him, like struggling to get to the throne, and to oversee, what was it, the petition or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like I thought that was a strong scene for him. His last king duty, I felt like. And then him getting his family together and giving the speech, like Zuplex said. That was it was a great scene to pull his family together, and at least for that time, he saw everyone enjoying themselves, besides the kids. So I thought that was awesome. The kid with the eye patch, I know he's like, got I was about to say God of War, Game of Thrones lore. Like he's got, he's big, more. He's a big guy in the series. I can't stand him. I hate him as a character. I don't like him at all. The young kids that are not Valerian, I thought they were kind of funny. Just the little smirks he was giving them the whole time at the dinner, just to piss them off. Like I don't know. I thought that was pretty good, but overall, the episode, it was just, other than the king stuff, it wasn't that great. Like, if this was supposed to be the big finale before the finale, it fell flat. Like, I don't understand what we were supposed to see here. That was like spectacular. It was just, you know, a family dinner and some a little training scene in the beginning of the episode and a stupid time jump again. So I don't know. Other than that, it was okay.
This is, by the way, this is the first time that I've gotten a smirk over in Spartacus's corner. Normally it's been one of you guys, but this time he had a smirk and he's been shaking his head for what seems like 4 straight minutes.
Yeah.
So Spartacus, I'm going to go over to you because you clearly disagree with something here.
Well, I disagree with a few things. Not that I disagree, but I'm not following a few things I heard. Number one, Zuplex, just to come at you a little bit. You're complaining about Aftermath. We don't need to see 45 minutes of Aftermath. Game of Thrones is all Aftermath. The 8th episode or 9th episode is a major thing, and the entire finale is Aftermath. It's an hour-long episode of Aftermath, and yet you love Game of Thrones. I haven't heard you say one bad thing about Game of Thrones.
To be fair, it's usually the most boring episode of the season, too, though.
Oh, now all of a sudden there's a negative thing, but I'm just saying, like, you know,
I'm just saying that's how they do it. I'm not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing.
In my opinion, you're just hating on Lord of the Rings because you want to hate on Lord of the Rings because you saw Clerks 2 a bunch of years ago and you really like Randall. The other thing I gotta kind of shake my head at, Scythe. I'm coming at you now a little bit. You know, you're saying I just don't know what the setup was. It's all about basically drawing lines and saying these guys are gonna go at it with these guys. Aegon in particular is going to essentially lead the charge for the Targaryens, for his side of the Targaryen war, versus Rhaenyra and all her kids. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory.
I get the war is coming. But
I will say,
no,
go ahead. Sorry. Good.
No, it's just like if this was the finale, before the finale, there was nothing to this episode other than we know the war is coming. So we've been knowing
that
the war
in particular,
is coming.
I don't disagree with, and I also don't disagree with you guys on the time jumps. I believe we're now 3 episodes after they recast or brought in the new actresses, I should say, for Rhaenyra and Alicent. And 3 episodes later, I still don't get why they had to do it this way. And I'm not saying that the younger actresses couldn't play the characters now. Maybe they weren't old enough. Perfectly fine. But as I told somebody recently who has not watched and she wants to start watching to skip the first 5 episodes, start with episode 6. There's no reason to see the kids at the young age, Rhaenyra and Alicent I'm talking about specifically. You might as well just start when they're adults and the older actresses are playing them and go from there. To me, that was such a weird decision even when they did it, and they have not proven to me that it was necessary to begin with. I know there's time for that. Otherwise,
the only thing I'll say is, go ahead.
Otherwise, for me, House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones, that whole aesthetic in general, I just prefer that style over Lord of the Rings. So I'm like, the more the political intrigue is really kind of what they do, and I'm into that. Even if they remove some of the dragon stuff, I'm much more into the way House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones in particular handles the fantasy element. So, I give House of the Dragon kind of at the edge over Lord of the Rings.
I mean, to its credit, it's keeping me interested all season for a show that I thought I would never be interested in. So I give it that.
True.
I don't know. The political thing, like all that stuff is great, but to combat what you just said about not seeing the first 5 episodes, those were the best 5 episodes to me. Like,
but it's I'm not saying that in the sense that that's the worst part of the season. I'm just saying that it feels like those first 5 episodes is one show, and then since then it's another show. You just don't need those. Nothing.
Yeah,
nothing that happened in those first 5 episodes matters now. We could have just been told through dialogue that Alicent and Rhaenyra were friends. We could have been shown that Daemon and Rhaenyra have this thing. Absolutely.
Would it be as powerful?
Would it be as powerful?
I don't know if it would be.
It absolutely would.
I don't know if it would be.
See how high my voice goes?
But it's always better to show you than tell you.
When the voice goes high, that means it's true, okay? And my voice just hit a pitch I've never even heard of before.
Here's my thing. Like, I tend to agree with you guys on the time jumps that they did too many of them. And I didn't like the recasting. We talked about that in length in one of the episodes.
Yeah.
However, I would say that seeing the original actress from Rhaenyra right now with kids that age would not work as a visual thing.
I mean, and
I think you just look far too young
That's
for them to do
fine,
that.
but
I think
like again, skip the first 5 episodes.
as much as she was the
didn't
better
need it.
actress, and I'll agree with you guys on that. She was definitely the better actress for the role. She definitely killed it in the first half of the season. But for where the show is going overall, I like the Queen was kind of a swap for me.
Right.
Like like the actress that's playing her now is just as good as the actress that was playing her before.
Yeah.
Rhaenyra is really the one that's the big problem, right?
Yep.
I do
But
want
I
to
don't know
clarify.
visually.
Sorry, go ahead.
I don't know if visually it would have worked with her having older kids, like 17 kids at this point that she has, with 3 baby daddies.
Right. Well, Fred, let me clarify a
Actually
question for you though. So you were saying that you didn't like Aegon Targaryen, right? You didn't like the character, I guess. Are you saying that as in you don't like the way he's portrayed? He just seems like a shitty character, or are you saying that you just don't like the persona? In other words, like everyone hated Joffrey from Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
Everyone hated
I was going to say
Joffrey,
the same thing.
but that was the
I was gonna bring
point
up
of
the
the
same
character.
thing.
You're supposed to hate that character. So it's like in essence the actor did his job. Same thing with Asher in Spartacus. Everyone hated that character, but that's exactly what he was going for. So are you thinking you hate Aegon the right way, or you hate him because you just think he could be out of the show and you don't need him?
Both. Like, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. Like, yeah, I don't like him as a character, so he is doing his job if he's supposed to be the villain.
He is. I mean, that's.
But
yeah,
if he wasn't in the series, if his story didn't exist, I wouldn't be missing it. Like, I don't know. It's just he does nothing for me.
Yeah, I think the Joffrey thing is a good point because you never watched Game of Thrones, so at one point there was this kid. He was an actor. He played the King Joffrey, right? The would-be king. Everybody hated this kid, hated him, but he was playing it to the point of making you hate him.
right.
Right. Mm-hmm. So it worked. It worked as a villain that like you couldn't wait till they killed this kid. Like you wanted to see everybody murder this kid. Like that's how well he played him.
Right.
And I don't know if this kid's going to play Aegon the same way, but he's starting to feel like that.
That's what I agree.
Is it going to be the same character when we time jump to season 2?
Probably not. It'll be a new actor. They'll recast him with Martin Short.
They're all going to be adults.
Yeah,
they're all going to be adults at that point.
I'm gonna jump into some news now instead of show reviews. Does anyone love Keanu Reeves more than us right now? I mean, it's like John Wick 4, John Wick in general, but do we want to see Keanu Reeves as Ghost Rider? Most recently reported by him, that would be the character he would love to play. So one shot. We haven't heard from you in a few segments here, I know, because you didn't have much on the shows. So I'm going to dive in with you first. Number 1, would you be excited about it? Number 2, is that something you really want to see and can fit in? And number 3, if not, do you have somebody in mind?
Don't really have anybody else in mind.
Well, no, I mean, if you could see him with it, that's it. It's your guy then.
Right.
But I mean, he's phenomenal in almost everything he does.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure?
Hey, I loved it.
That's the
It's
version
funny.
of Ghost Rider we want.
It's funny.
I want Ghost Rider to come out and be like, "Whoa, dudes, we gotta play a song."
Excellent.
And then go.
Scythe, go ahead, bro. Give it to us. The 3, same thing, man. Do you love the news about it? Is that the guy you want? And if not, is there somebody else you'd love to see playing it?
I love that he wants to be Ghost Rider. I think it's fantastic. If the MCU is going Johnny Blaze, then yeah, Keanu Reeves would be amazing. I don't want to see Johnny Blaze though. I want to see Robbie Reyes, and I think the dude who's funny, his last name is Reyes in the show.
Yeah.
From the hell,
Terminator.
I'm drawing a blank.
Terminator Dark Fate.
Not Terminator.
That's the guy.
That's the guy from the Sons of Anarchy spinoff.
That's the guy.
Hold
what
on.
the hell is that show?
The new Jax Teller.
Mayans. The freaking Mayans. My God.
Come on, bro.
The main character of Mayans, I would love to see play Robbie Reyes. That's the version of Ghost Rider I want to see join the MCU. And if they do some sort of they do some sort of multiverse thing where we can get both of them, then sure. But if it's only one, I want to see the Robbie Reyes one.
By the way, I'm conflicted which way to go here, and I'll tell you why. Because you said if they're gonna go Johnny Blaze, I'd love to see it, and Zuplex emphatically nodded his head like, and then you said Robbie Reyes, and Zuplex went, but Chris went. So Zoop, I'm gonna go to you here, bro. I want you to give me both sides of this because you had two different points of views on it, obviously, right? So which one would you rather? Which one would you rather see? And is Keanu Reeves your guy?
Keanu Reeves is my guy. Well, yes and no. I think he could do awesome at playing Johnny Blaze.
Okay.
I want to see him in a villain role in the MCU. I think he's more suited for Mr. Sinister or even Mephisto. I think he would do awesome in those roles. However, I don't hate the casting of him as Johnny Blaze either. Like, he could definitely play that. I was hoping for Norman Reedus to play Johnny Blaze, personally. Because I think he would be a better Johnny Blaze in that role. Now, the Robbie Reyes thing, I don't want to see Robbie Reyes without getting Johnny Blaze first. Like, I'm okay with bringing Robbie Reyes in later on, but I think you got to do Johnny Blaze first. Even with the storyline the way it is and everything like that, I think you have to give Johnny Blaze the credit where credit is due first.
Wow. Chris gave this. Dude, if you go back and watch, if that's not his new thumbnail, I don't know what. He gave a stank face of epic proportions. He went like this.
Norman Reedus.
Well, hold on. That's Steve. You're on the same page as me. Hold on one second. Can we just discuss for a second? Like, I love Keanu Reeves, all right? And yes, his movies are excellent.
So
whatever.
what?
But between Keanu Reeves and Norman Reedus as Johnny Blaze, we're gonna have one guy who just goes, "Whoa," and one guy who just goes, Like, there's no real like range in either of them. That's my first sentence. Okay. My second thought is, you absolutely can have Robbie Reyes without giving Johnny Blaze his due, because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. already did that. They made Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider, the Ghost Rider for their show. And all they did was, in a little flashback, Johnny Blaze shows up.
To Johnny Blaze. Like,
what?
Yeah, but we listen,
it didn't make any sense what you just said to me. Hold on. All right. And we all know
that high pitch came back.
We all know if they do a Ghost Rider movie, if they do a movie in particular, I don't know if they're going to do a show, whatever the plans are, but if they do a movie, you can have Keanu Reeves in the movie as Johnny Blaze, mentor a younger Ghost Rider, Robbie Reyes.
Yeah, and
then by the end, he's gone.
Give Johnny Blaze first.
For me, if Keanu Reeves is going to be Ghost Rider, I do like the fact that he wants to play it, but can we just for a second picture Keanu Reeves in an MCU movie? He doesn't have the quippiness. He doesn't have the comedic timing that everyone else has. Like,
That's why I think he'd be a better villain.
I don't disagree with that. I think he'd be a better villain, but he also doesn't have a mean bone in his body, so I don't know if he could pull that off. Although he did play a villain in Man of Tai Chi, so he was good in that one. But you know what I'm saying? Like, we can
he was the anti-hero in Constantine. Like, everybody hated him.
Yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't call him the villain or whatever. But I don't know. I'd be interested to see it, because it would definitely be a very different role that he plays. Because in the MCU machine, they operate a certain way, and there's going to be a lot of jokes and all that kind of stuff. And he could play the straight man to the jokes, but can he be the one who gives the quick jokes and quips?
Do you think they changed that formula though for Ghost Rider and Blade and stuff like that? Like, with Blade coming, do you think we're going to get a lot of jokes in Blade?
Yes, and I'll tell you why. Because right now in Phase 4 is all about experiments. They gave us Eternals, people hated it. I loved it, but people hated it. They gave us Shang-Chi. They hit a home run with that one, but it's a very different. It's funny, but it's more of a martial arts Marvel movie. They gave us what was the last one? Doctor Strange 2, more of like a horror themed. Universally, people did not like it. Thor: Love and Thunder went the full-blown comedy route. People didn't like it. They're gonna, for Phase 5, I know you don't like the word phase, they're gonna pivot right back to the same old cookie cutter Marvel movies, and we're gonna get the quippiness, the quick act, the sad moments cut by a joke. Like, we're gonna go right back to the old stuff, which I don't hate, but come on, man. This is our world, all right, is not built for things to change, and they're not gonna start now. They want to make money.
What about Moon Knight? Not a lot of jokes. Everybody
but
loved it.
that wasn't. That's not a big. Moon Knight's not a character like Ghost Rider. You can't get away. Like Moon
I mean,
Knight,
they're in the same vein,
Werewolf
though.
by Night.
Like,
I know we know they're the same, but
Werewolf by Night
the general
also.
public
There
doesn't.
wasn't a lot of jokes. Everybody seems to love it. So maybe the characters with the darker themes, your Moon Knights, your Werewolf by Night, your Blade, your Ghost Rider and stuff like that.
Maybe,
you
but
can
I don't
get
think
away
so.
with
I
not
just
having
don't
all
think
the
so.
jokes.
People
You
know
know?
Ghost Rider is the problem. You know, he's a popular character, not
But
as
people-
popular as others, but he's popular.
Well, because people know him, they know that he's not jokey, so they're not going to be looking for the. If they make an overly jokey Ghost Rider, everybody's going to hate it.
But see, not necessarily, because if you watched Agents of Shield, Robbie Reyes was a quippy kind of joke Ghost Rider,
And I hated it.
well, you hated it, but I thought it was excellent, and
I liked it.
those
Yeah, I
seasons
liked
of
it.
Agents of Shield, people absolutely loved. That's when the show really started to hit its stride. So
I mean, listen. In all fairness to Zuplex, you know, if he can't find it in one of his comic books, he's out. So
he's
you
out.
know,
Find me the issue where Johnny Blaze is quippy and jokey, and then all of a sudden Zuplex will be on board.
Zuplex, listen, you gave us everything you had by yourself in Comic-Con. For God's sakes, the guy's back was seizing up on him.
It's a long weekend. It's a long weekend.
And he got the newly reported CDC Comic-Con COVID. You heard it here. And
The Comic-Con flu.
But he's back though. First of all, if you haven't checked out his TikToks with the interviews he did, dude, they're awesome, bro. You really did.
Yeah,
a
well
great,
done.
Great
Excellent job.
You asked
Amazing.
great
Thank
questions.
you guys.
There wasn't a lot of downtime. Listen, I nitpick on that shit, you know, and I was watching it and I was like, you know, this kind of works because even like the way you approach it, your voice, like, you know, you kind of have this like grizzly bear, raspy voice with it. You're asking questions. It's pretty cool. Like Scream Comic-Con interview, bro. It was really good. So I'm going to give the first question. Guys, please jump in at any moment in time. Scythe, Spartacris, one shot. First of all, going there, what was your favorite part of it, bro?
Just being back, to be honest with you, because the last 2 years I wasn't able to go because of COVID, and then last year they had some insane restrictions that they wanted to put on people as far as vaccinations and PCR tests and all. So just a lot of people had backed out from going as far as like guest wise and panel wise. So there really wasn't enough for me to deal with all the bullshit to go. So last year I bowed out of it, but I've been going to New York Comic Con since 2010. Right. So I've been going every year. I plan vacations around my vacation week around that time of year. It is something that I've looked forward to. So not going for the last couple of years really like stung a little bit. So I was just happy to be back, see what they've done with the con, and they changed everything. It is so much bigger because they did the expansion on the Javits Center. So now they're using all 5 floors.
Wow.
Of the Javits Center.
Wow.
I'm telling you right now, I was there for 3 days. Wound up being 2, but I didn't see I probably only saw about 60% of what they had going on.
Wow.
It was
crazy.
so much. I've never seen it that big before. So yeah, my favorite part was just being back, man. Like just being back among the people. Like I'll say this, every year that I've ever gone to Comic-Con, usually places that you have like big crowds with a lot of people, there's always some sort of bullshit going on. Fight, this, argument, never at Comic-Con. Yeah. I never see bullshit. Everybody's so nice and just happy to be there. Like even like this is the first time I've ever interviewed cosplayers. Right. I thought it was going to be weird. Like, I honestly, stepping up to the plate myself, like, I was like, I don't know how I should go about asking people, you know what I mean? And I was just like, hey, you want to do a quick interview for my YouTube? And they're just like, yeah, I can't wait. Awesome, bro. Awesome. Like, everybody was just so excited. Even the people that said no were just like, oh my God, thank you so much. But no, I'm like, oh, it's not a big deal. Like, everybody was just so super nice and like having a good time. It was super awesome to be there.
I gotta say just a quick thing. Scythe, you have a question for him right after?
I have a question. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we'll go to you right after. One thing I have to say, man, and it just goes back to your TikToks and interviews. I told you I was watching them. I was really in love with them. You had a segment of Lord of the Ring
Yeah.
cosplay characters, right? And and it was a great question because it seems like such a seamless question to ask. What do you think about the Rings of Power? And they were like, they haven't watched it. You literally said, you guys are the worst. And I fucking died, man.
Yep.
I was like, let me tell you, it was so, dude, it was like, it was real, right? Like you're like, how the fuck are you dressed up like this? And you haven't watched the most recent show. They're talking about how in love they are. It was awesome, bro. It was awesome.
But they were so nice about it too. Like they laughed about it. Like they laughed that I was busting their chops a little bit. Like afterwards, they were even saying to me, like, oh, I know it's crazy that we haven't watched it yet. We're waiting until it all comes out. We're gonna binge it while we're playing D&D. Like they were so like such like sweet, innocent kids. Like they were in their early 20s. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like they were just like, we just like being friends. Like it was just so like I didn't want to rip into them too bad at that point. You know what I mean?
Were they the ones? Were they the ones that were from California?
No. That was the Captain America, the female Captain America with the Iron Man.
Because I thought that was interesting because usually everybody flies to Cali for Comic-Con, and New York always felt like it was for us, not for everyone type of thing. This was like the first time I heard like somebody from Cali who has San Diego's Comic-Con to come to our side and enjoy it.
Yeah, they have San Diego and they have WonderCon, right? Which is like
They said New York was the biggest con they'd been to, didn't they?
Yeah, which is crazy. Yeah. I did not expect that.
She doesn't go to San Diego. She said she goes to WonderCon, but New York was bigger than WonderCon, which I could see. I could see that happening, especially the way it was this year.
What was your favorite costume?
That was my question.
I thought you asked a question.
No, you're good.
There were two costumes. I was trying to get interviews with the guys, but they were the most impressive things I'd seen there. But they were getting mobbed by so many people. It was like going to be impossible, to like get an actual like interview with them. I took pictures of them. I think I sent them to you guys. I don't know if they went up yet. One guy was the Hobgoblin, right? In a full
I saw the
Hobgoblin,
picture.
and he's on a hoverboard that he fashioned into a goblin glider, and he was just gliding around the con. It was amazing to see. And then there was the Mandalorian who had the speeder bike.
Yep.
And it was an actual.
I saw that picture. That was fire.
That was an actual scooter. And he put mirrors on the side to make it look like it was levitating.
I mean, come on. I love that shit.
It was,
dude,
if you look at that
they're
picture,
so creative.
It was. I was trying to get more footage of these guys for you guys, but they were mobbed by people. Yeah. It was so hard to do. If you look at the photos, and they'll be up on our Instagram and everything later on too. If you look at the speeder bike, it looks like it's levitating. You got to look at the bottom of it. Yeah. He put mirrors, so it mirrored the ground below it. Fantastic. Like it took so much work, but out of the people that I interviewed, the Juggernaut was amazing. The Iron Man suit was amazing. Everybody had a lot of really cool detail to theirs, and there's still more. I'm still going to be throwing up more interviews later on.
Nice.
That's awesome.
And also,
Spartacris, you got a question?
Yeah. Well, so firstly, I'm working with Zuplex. We're going to put a nice like little montage video with all the information on YouTube, as well as the TikTok stuff. So, you know, if you want to see it really first, join the TikTok. If you want to wait, you'll see it on YouTube. Zuplex, excellent job. I loved everything I saw so far. My question for you is, what was the character, genre, whatever you want to call it, that kind of dominated Comic-Con this year? X-Men, anime,
a lot of anime.
Okay,
a lot of anime. Mostly One Piece.
You know what? It's funny you say that because just from different other accounts I follow, One Piece seemed to be the one as well. But you didn't share a lot of One Piece, so I was kind of curious.
So the One Piece stuff, because apparently they were debuting One Piece Red, which is I guess the new movie, new One Piece movie that's coming out. And that was one of the other things that I thought they kind of screwed up this year with was the panels.
Okay.
Because they were not only were they very hard to get into, but they were very hard to find also.
Really?
Because they changed it from how they've done it for the past 10 years. So if you've been going for 10 years and you know where the panels always are, and then all of a sudden they change everything to different areas that you didn't even know existed because they're new areas. They're very difficult to find. There wasn't a lot of exclusive panels this year when they used to have a lot more. I'm hoping in future years that we'll get more of that stuff back.
Mm-hmm.
But that seemed to be the big one, was the Back to the Future reunion panel, the Super Mario Brothers panel, the Walking Dead panel for some reason is still big. I don't know why. And then the One Piece, panel was a big one also. The Walking Dead has a big relationship with New York Comic Con because when The Walking Dead was super popular, they had New York Comic Con had the exclusive rights to the first episode, and like in the first episode of the season, and then the season would debut at the Sunday of New York Comic Con. So it was always their centerpiece. But as The Walking Dead got like less and less popular, New York Comic Con just kind of stuck with them. You know, so a lot of other stuff we're missing out on because of it. Right. But they also used to do the Netflix Marvel shows. Always used to do New York Comic Con also. So hopefully they get some of that type of stuff back. I was hoping that Marvel would do something for the Disney Plus shows, but you know, maybe in the future.
I don't know. I hope, but I feel like that's just always going to be like a D23 thing.
I mean, it will be, but
I got another question for you.
My thing is,
sorry, go ahead, Fred.
Well, I was gonna say I went to Comic-Con before COVID started, like basically 6 years in a row, and every year, too, like you said, it was very Walking Dead. You know, all your badges were Walking Dead characters. Like it was just every year was the same thing. But what made Comic-Con interesting, and it's kind of like a 2-question thing. What made Comic-Con interesting for me was how easy it was to spot a celebrity amongst a crowd. Like you can just walk around no matter where you are in the con. It's like, oh shoot, it's this guy, it's that person. Like I was waiting online for some, and Norman Reedus walks by me. Like it was so easy to spot somebody. Who was the person that you saw, or a couple people that you saw amongst the crowd as you're wandering the con?
This was the first year I didn't see anybody.
Really?
Dang.
That's surprising.
Not a single one, which was crazy because, like, and I agree with you, New York Comic Con has always been a more friendly to the celebrity thing, where they could just walk the crowd and no one really mobs them, no one really like asks them. Everybody's super respectful of them. Whereas like San Diego, I've heard of like it's crazy what happens to these people. Right. You know, so New York's always been really cool about that. But now they have what seems to be like a celebrity area that they built for them, that they can all go and like chill out in like a green room type of thing.
So they're like keeping them all away from everyone.
Yeah, I don't know if you got VIP badges, if you had access to that. You might have. But it seems
that'd be
like
amazing if you did.
It seems like there weren't really anybody walking the floor like they normally do. I did see Todd McFarlane at the CGC booth signing, which was pretty cool.
Cool.
That's cool.
CGC did a good job of streamlining their process, which was very helpful to me. At least I'll know for next year because I didn't know for the first day there. But I was able to get some great deals on some comics. I was able to submit a bunch of submissions to CGC, so I'm excited for those to come back. We're going to do some unboxing videos.
Nice.
When they come back.
Very cool.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What is the most common cosplay that you saw
this year? Excuse me, sorry. A lot of Captain Marvel.
Interesting.
Which I was surprised about.
Yeah.
A lot of Captain Marvel, and there was also, and you know what? I had taken note of this too while I was doing it. A lot of Mighty Thor, a lot of the female Thor.
That makes sense.
I can see that.
And a lot of Moon Knight.
Nice.
A shit ton.
Really?
Yeah, but he's got the right look for cosplay. I mean, it's an easier cosplay to do.
It's
a white suit with a white mask and gloves. I mean, that's pretty much done.
Well, there was all versions. They had the bandage version. They had the Mr. Knight version. They had there was a lot of Moon Knight walking around.
One other question I have is obviously like the panels are why a lot of people will show up. They want to see, you know, the actors, they want to see the exclusive footage and all that stuff. But one of my favorite parts of Comic-Con for me is actually Artist Alley, seeing all the artwork, being able to talk to the artists of comic books, of pictures, of anything, getting their autographs, you know, just having you can just have a friendly conversation about why they draw this character right at their booth. Like, to me, Artist Alley was always a fun experience, and being able to pick up some interesting pieces. Did they still have that? Was it as large? Did it grow? What do you think?
They still had Artist Alley. It was probably just as big as previous years. They moved it from that extended area. They moved it to where they used to do the autograph signings. So now that whole room is Artist Alley.
All the way downstairs? Wasn't that all the way downstairs? Okay.
Yeah, all the way downstairs. That's what I'm saying. They're really using every inch of the Javits Center. It's wild to see. I don't know where they moved the autograph alley to. Like, I couldn't find it. I don't know where it was. Like, I don't know if they're not doing it like that anymore, if they're just doing random booths around and stuff, but I couldn't find. That was one of my biggest problems this year, was I couldn't find a lot of stuff. And I was spending a lot of time looking around for certain things, and I felt like I missed part of the con because I didn't know where anything was. And they didn't do a real great job of, like, letting people know where stuff was. You know what I mean? Like, you know, that's one of the things that Repop, but one of the things I will say that Repop does when they do these cons is anything that didn't work this year, they will fix for next year.
Yeah, true.
Let me throw out one final question for you for the New York Comic Con. This is the biggest question that we're going to ask you. This is what everyone's clamoring for. All right. What cosplay are you wearing next year when you go to Comic Con?
I know what he's wearing.
It's not happening. You guys aren't going to get me to get into a costume.
Hold on. I'm telling you right now that I'm going to go to Comic Con with you next year. But
okay,
I went to see Star Wars The Force Awakens as Kylo Ren. Okay, I'm a cosplay person. I am going to Comic Con in cosplay. You got to come with me in cosplay.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Can I make a suggestion for you that you will not overheat in, and I think fits your frame perfect?
Yeah, what's this?
Sailor Moon, bro. Oh! You'd be a great looking Sailor Moon. Got him.
I was expecting.
Honestly, Zuplex, thank you for making the venture out there by yourself, toughing it out for us, bro, and adding the content to the page, dude. As always, it was fun to watch. We had a full arsenal of questions to ask you, and I know there was so much more you wanted to do. So much more to see, but there's only so much ground one guy can cover.
Next year you have help. Next year you're gonna have somebody with you. I'm telling you.
I'll be there.
Be much appreciated, and we got to bring camping chairs. So I'm not sitting on the curb like a chooch anymore.
You got to do something.
There you go. So, listen, this wraps it up, man. You had a full workload here, a full boatload from your GGEN guys. We talked about an array of things. We had reviews. Show reviews. We had New York Comic Con. We had it all today. Theater Room 59, man. We are approaching some crazy, crazy numbers as a group. We're approaching the ever elusive 1,000 on YouTube. We're well over 1,000 on TikTok. We're approaching 500 on Twitch. We're doing some incredible things right now, just as a group. There's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
A lot coming down the pipeline. There's a lot of secrets coming down the pipeline that not even members of GGEN know. So there's a lot going on behind. There's a lot of looks. You see that? There's a lot of looks right now. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of exciting times. And quite frankly, like I say it all the time, I say as a group, there's no better group, there's no better vibe than hanging out with a group of guys who work, dads, husbands, are stuck working 16 hours a day, and really just come home and vibe out to just everyday stuff like movies and shows and music and anything entertainment wise. So hopefully you connect with us better than you connect with most. Thank you. We appreciate you very much. Spartacris, go ahead and take us out, bro.
Well, he already mentioned all the socials. We also got some Patreons. You'll start getting the theater rooms early on Patreon, uncut, unedited. Keep an eye out on the YouTube for the edited versions, and keep an eye out for the gaming too. Right now, the Captain, Scythe, and Zuplex have been killing it on Fortnite. Steve and I finished It Takes Two, and we're about to jump into A Way Out. If you've played that, you know what to expect. And
That's a great game.
I played a little bit of it. I can't wait to finish it. And it's October, man. Some horror games are coming your way. I already did a little Nightmares a little bit on Twitch, and I'm going to be bringing Resident Evil, probably Resident Evil 7, PS5 upgrades. So we got a lot going on, man. Thank you guys so much for taking the hour with me. And we'll see you guys next time on the Theater Room Podcast, episode 60, the big 60.